party of the mystic guardians of the universe. On the far distant planet Oa, Hal Jordan, test pilot, becomes the Green Lantern.
Welcome back, my fellow agents. It is I, your agent of animated awesome, as well as the professor of comicology, X7, the host of Xenorama, the podcast of heroes and monsters, also editor, publisher, writer of Xenorama, the Journal of Heroes and Monsters. This will be coming into play because, look, there's a Green Lantern right there. Be that as it may, we're going to talk about this very first volume, The Silver Age, Volume 1 of Green Lantern. Now, the original, well, before we get into that, please like, share, subscribe, vote in the poll, leave a comment. If you are watching on YouTube, if YouTube allows this, you never know, please watch at least a couple minutes and give it that'll help the algorithm get it out there more. I'd really appreciate it. Now, use your ring to make a big old batch of wheat cakes, and let's talk about Hal Jordan. This is the second Green Lantern. The first Green Lantern was Alan Scott, who we're going to talk about first. He was created in 1940 by the wonderful Martin Odell, who I met twice, and he and his wife were just the best people ever, and Bill Finger, the co-creator of Batman. So they brought him to life with a magical ring based a bit on Aladdin's lamp. The weakness he had was wood, and he still had to recharge it. The lamp had been used 3 times, once for bad, once for evil. I don't even know, but the last time was the one that Alan used. So, the Green Lantern of Earth 2, because they were the first Earth created. Go figure. I don't know, I haven't read a lot of his original adventures simply because they just aren't reprinted enough. Hal Jordan here was first debuted in 1959 in, as you can tell, we're going to open this up there, this lovely cover by Michael Cho. Showcase number 22, October, released, well, cover dated September, October of 1959, so probably June or July. All of these original stories in here. There's 12 books, which are several of the books had just three stories each in them. We're not going to go over all of them, but they were all written by John Broome and pencils by Gil Kane, inks by Joe Giella. So it was Broome and Kane who came up with the Hal Jordan version of the Green Lantern, whose weakness is yellow. So you can see where how he has to stop this missile. Why they didn't put on the origin on the front page is beyond me, because isn't this a great cover? But right away they have thought balloons in this, and a lot of these. Well, no, they didn't. See, look how powerful this is. They didn't have him saying, "Oh no, my ring can't stop yellow. What will I do?" I hate that. I really dislike him. So we get introduced to everybody. Hal Jordan, and being working for Ferris Airlines, Carol Ferris, his would-be girlfriend, and there it is right there. She's in love with him until her dad says, "I'm leaving for 2 years," which ended up to be like 18 or something. And by the second story, he's saying his oath. Now, later on, Tom Kalmaku, who has that very, very unfortunate nickname for most of this, 2 years, yeah. This is the third story where Hal's like putting the moves on her, and she just shuts him down. So, I just don't know why they had to have these sort of things. He's his own rival. She loves Green Lantern, and then she doesn't love him. My introduction to Green Lantern was in the reprint DC Comics 100-page Super Spectacular number 6, where the first team up between the Justice League and the Justice Society. So we had 2 Green Lanterns in there, 2 Flashes, and 2 Atoms. It took a long time to get all of the twos together, like, I don't even know, 80 issues when the 2 Supermen, the 2 Flashes, the 2 Robins. The 2 Flashes didn't show up, but they teamed up a lot, so the 2 Green Lanterns, the 2 Hawkmen even. But I don't know that we ever saw the 2 Batmen together, which is weird. So I read that and loved it. Loved both Green Lanterns. Just was fascinated by the power ring. So when this came out, well, not this one. Let's go back a minute here to get to this, where I took everything out. So uh, Green Lantern number 90. What does it say? Number 88, surprise issue, because they bet the dreaded deadline doom. Um, this is March 1972. This one, which I have a copy of now. Read to pieces, the first one, but I had to get another one. So it's right between the middle of Denny O'Neill's and Neil Adams' overrated run. Sorry, their run was spectacular artwork. Look at that Adams cover. That's amazing. You can see why I wanted it, and it was a whopping quarter for 52 big pages because Marvel was pulling some shenanigans. So I bought this one, and it had that story with the pteranodons in it. We got to learn about how the Oath was created and unpublished Alan Scott story. It was great. I bought the next one, which was right back to Speedy being a drug addict, which was not what I wanted to read about because I didn't understand it. I was, 72. I was 7. Yeah, well, probably not even close to that. Well, we don't get any team ups between the two Green Lanterns in here. See, there's Tom, and doing that, but they do show how he got his original or his oath, what he thinks is the original one. We get to meet Tomar Ray or Tomar Re or Re. I don't even know, but I've always said Tomar Ray, the Green Lantern of Zudar, in whatever sector that's in. That was fun. I think he's the first Green Lantern we ever got to actually meet from the Green Lantern Corps. Green Lantern Corps is a great idea. It's a bit based on E. Doc Smith's Lensman series, which is from the 30s or probably 40s. And I've read a couple of them, but not too many. I read the Dragon Lensman because had a dragon. I've often thought a dragon Green Lantern would be really cool, and I actually have developed one, but they never did go on. They never did show us. Well, I never did submit it when Green Lanterns. You could do that because it wouldn't have been mine. We get the Weaponers of Quard a time or two. We get Sinestro, I don't know, 4 or 5 or 10 times. In these first 8, well, there's 12 issues in here. The first 3 Showcase, 22 through 24, Green Lantern 1 through 9. They didn't start doing single story issues until Green Lantern 8. Yeah, Green Lantern 8. And then the covers were by Gil Kane and Murphy Anderson, who's a great artist in his own right. And, there it is. Geez, the Guardians Zap. And a great artist in his own right. He did Hawkman and I think some of the Adams. I know Gil Kane did a lot, but I believe Murphy did Hawkman after, that guy whose name I'm drawing a blank on. And there's the Yellow Ring. Why would you, if you were the Guardians, why would you pick someone named Sinestro to ever be a Lantern? Never got that. So 12 issues for $25. Couldn't buy them in the comic books, the original one. That'd be ridiculous, even in poor condition. And then you wouldn't even want to open them. This is Zenorama number 32, the color edition, part 1, which features, the Green Lantern, Metal Men, all sorts of fun stuff. There's a black and white edition, which is everything, but I wanted to do another one. Hal's been in a lot of movies, a lot of shows. One movie. It's not, according to Sheldon Cooper, 114 minutes of wrong, but it's not very good. But this was his first appearance, which you heard the introduction of, narrated by the wonderful Ted Knight. And he also appears in the 3 Justice League cartoons. So there's 18 cartoons in here, 2 discs, 9 cartoons each for an hour, and which I think is they could have put it all on one double-sided disc. It still had plenty of room for the little featurette. But they're fun. I mean, you get some of the wrong colors here and there, and Tom is called Tom, and they have him his Golly G replacement as I think an alien from Venus. And then later on, he was in the Super Friends, one of the Super Friends. Later, he was also in several. He made several appearances in many cartoons and movies, voiced by many people. And Daffy in In Duck Dodgers, he's voiced by Kevin Smith. And of course, he was voiced by, where was I going here? He was also voiced by lovable rogue Nathan Fillion in several of the movies. And of course, the 2011 Hal Jordan Green Lantern, the self-titled movie with Ryan Reynolds. It's not terrible. It's just very frustrating. It could have been so much better. But I watched it. I'd probably watch it again, maybe, if I had 114 minutes to waste. Although I think there's an even longer one, director's cut. I don't know which is which. I do have this, which, as you can tell, this was also released in 2011, same as the movie. I've seen several episodes. It's been a minute since I've watched them. And unfortunately, I haven't opened this yet because I've had so many more. But there are 22 episodes. It might be a fun review to do per episode by, because no one talks too much about the Green Lantern aside from how terrible they perceive the movie to be, which is unfair. I mean, yeah, it's not great. I'm telling you. But it's not the worst thing. And more people are familiar with Jon Stewart being Green Lantern, and I don't mean Daily, the talk show host. I mean the second. No, he was the third Green Lantern chosen after dumbass Guy Gardner when he couldn't. I think he was in a coma by then. Not a Guy Gardner fan. I think they've made him better recently. I mean, how they made Hal turn villainous. They killed him. They made him the Spectre. Then they came back, and I think he's alive again. There are a lot of Green Lanterns on Earth. I mean, for something that are supposed to be out in the cosmos, they're like the Ultra Brothers. They're not. There's just one Ultraman on Earth at a time, generally, unless he has some help, which is fine. But there should only be one Green Lantern, and I don't have enough fingers to count the Green Lanterns on Earth. And I can't even talk about Alan Scott because retconning doesn't always, if you know what I'm talking about, I understand why, but create a new character. It's that easy. Anyway, be that as it may, we'll go back here for just a minute because there are 2 oaths for the Green Lantern. Both of the Green Lanterns use the same one each time, simply because they didn't. There we go. The first one was said by Alan Scott, "And I shall shed my light over dark evil, for the dark things cannot stand the light of the Green Lantern." And then, for some unknown reason, he changed it in 1943 to the wonderful one that they use now. They do have the reprint of that, the origin of Green Lantern's oath, that was reprinted in this lovely Neil Adams cover again, and where Hal thinks he thought of it. But they did say, they established in the Flash that some thought waves would come over and penetrate into Earth 1. I don't know. I love the team ups with the 2 Green Lanterns. It was a lot of fun because they were 2 very different. By the time I think that Green Lantern Alan Scott was married. Incidentally, Alan Scott was tentatively going to be called Alan Ladd until they changed it before the Alan Ladd the actor showed up. What do you know? So they fought Krona for the first time, who, as you know, kind of started the whole crisis on Infinite Earths, and also the Justice League meets the Avengers was his fault. And they just did a lot of stuff together. They introduced me to Doiby Dickles, who was, the comedic sidekick that heroes had to have back then. And it was a fun series. Now that everybody has to be super serious or super serial, if you will. But incidentally, Lilith Draco does know the whole oath. She just won't admit it. The In Brightest Day oath. So, agents, that is our episode for today. I highly recommend getting these. These are just wonderful reprint books. I don't know if they had letters pages, but just to see how things started. Hal went to the future, 5700 AD, much like the Flash went to the future. And you get to meet many. He does meet the Guardians of the Galaxy. And you see many Green Lanterns, such as one of my favorites here. Kilowog was not even a dream back then. I'd trade him for this guy anytime. But I highly recommend the book. I'm going to go over to Time Warp, which is the local comic shop near Fossil Bed. Say hi to Wayne before he sells the place and goes under new management. And, I've been putting his kids through school since I don't know when. Having said all that, the oath is right up there with up, up, and away. With great power comes great responsibility. And it was just a wonderful, the second oath, of course. The first oath is good, but it's not the second oath. So, having said all that, agents, until our next adventure, just please remember not to hide in the dark, because it cannot stand the light of the Green Lantern. Until our next assignment, this is X7 signing off.
A cosmic crusader whose magical power ring at his bidding accomplishes the impossible. In his continuing fight against interplanetary evil, Green Lantern, Guardian of the Galaxy.